Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Accidentally Made Content podcast, where the prompts don't matter and no one keeps score, but continue to plug away and observe the chaos that ensues is mandatory. This is an episode on a prompt that I'm not as familiar with as David is, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Darth Vader stood at the bridge of his Star Destroyer, gazing down at the emerald planet below. Earth, a primitive world, insignificant in the grand scheme of the Empire. But the Emperor, had sensed something, a disturbance in the Force. Vader's orders were simple: observe, assess, and if necessary, intervene. His scanners locked onto the westernmost island of Europe, Ireland. Reports from probe droids painted a bleak picture: starvation, disease, and suffering. The year was 1847, and the planet's inhabitants called this crisis the Great Famine. Descending through the mist-laden skies in his Lambda-class shuttle, Vader landed outside a desolate village. The stench of decay hung thick in the air. Gaunt figures in tattered rags shuffled through the streets, their hollow eyes flickering with fear at the sight of the black-cloaked figure emerging from the vessel. A British officer, resplendent in his red coat, approached cautiously. "You there, identify yourself." Vader did not slow his stride. "This suffering is inefficient," he intoned, his voice a mechanical growl. The officer flinched, taken aback by the sheer presence of the Sith Lord. "It is unfortunate," the officer said, regaining his composure, "but necessary. The Irish have gone too dependent on their potatoes. This will teach them." He never finished the sentence. Vader's hand lifted, and the officer clutched at his throat, his face turning purple as he levitated helplessly. "I find your lack of compassion disturbing," Vader said before squeezing his fingers into a fist. The officer crumpled to the ground. The watching villagers gasped, some of them crossing themselves. Vader turned to them. "Your government has abandoned you. Your landlords hoard food while you perish." He gestured towards the officer's corpse. "This is the price of their cruelty." A frail woman stepped forward, clutching a starving child. "Sir, what are you?" "I am necessity." Vader reached out through the force, seeking food stores, hidden caches, and supply routes. He sensed ships in the harbors loaded with grain and meat, bound for England while the Irish starved. Unacceptable. Within the hour, his stormtroopers arrived, sweeping through warehouses and estates, seizing hoarded supplies. Entire shipments were redirected to the starving population. British forces attempted resistance, but their bullets were useless against the Dark Lord. One landlord, a corpulent man gorging himself on a feast within his manor, found himself lifted from his chair by an invisible grip. "These people are my property." Vader tilted his helmet. "Your greed has sealed your fate." With a flick of his wrist, the man hurtled through the window, crashing onto the cobbled street below. By week end, relief ships arrived under Imperial control. The famine's grip loosened, and people whispered of the black cloaked savior who had defied kings and queens. As Vader returned to his shuttle, he cast one last look at Ireland. The suffering had lessened, but the scars remained. The Emperor would not approve of his mercy, but then again, mercy had little to do with it. It had simply been efficient. I like this one. Um, I, I think we mentioned it in the actual episode, but the the there is a plot point in a book where there is a famine on a planet that the Emperor uses to manipulate this alien race into being his private assassins because Darth Vader saved their home planet, but after Vader dies, they end up switching sides because they find out that Princess Leia is his daughter and that the Emperor lied to them about this invasive plant that's destroying their world. That the Empire had to like take its time to remove it from the planet, but actually they could have done it in about 2 seconds. But anyway, apparently Darth Vader saved them from something. Um, if there is comments, and if you feel so led, please, someone, tell us which book that is, because it's in the Star Wars Legends lore. But with that, peace out. Try not to get caught up in a potato famine. Bye.